Welcome everyone to my best movies of 2017. We have 30 movies. Last time I just put all the good movies on one list and I had to condense it into two parts using YouTube Video Editor. But I decided to go a different route and put 30 movies on here. Now, after doing my superhero movie rankings of 2017, my worst movies of 2017, which is labeled the crap stains of evil, my guilty pleasures of movies of 2017, my underrated, most surprising, overrated, the horror movies ranking of 2017, and my okay/disappointing list. This is the final list I'm about to give to you guys for 2017 year. So, let's talk about them. But before we get into the list, I do have 15 honorable mentions. And I will be explaining those right now. Now, these honorable mentions are pretty good and to great films, but I just couldn't put them on the list. So let's get started. Coming to number 15 is Get Out. Get Out, I think this was a really good horror movie. I didn't expect much out of it, but once I saw everybody praising this movie, I said, this must be a good movie. I need to check it out. And a very impressive debut for Jordan Peele. And he knew how to handle this. Was scary, it was funny, and some of the things in this movie are true about racial stuff. But this is not a complete racial movie. But you do have interracial relationship, which I like. I love interracial relationships. They are awesome. Especially the one in Stranger Things. But anyways, not everyone's gonna like this movie, but I will say at least give it a rental from your local library or Redbox before actually deciding to go through buying it. Number 15, we have Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. Now, growing up and as a 19-year-old guy, I read only a few Captain Underpants books, and I was not expecting much out of this movie. I thought this was gonna suck. This looked horrible. It looked terrible, and it just looked bad. It looked pretty bad. But the movie surprised me. I thought the voice acting was great. I thought it was very loyal to its material. I did have some issues with it, but Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, was a pretty entertaining movie, to say the least. I thought it was actually really good. And it's a shame this movie didn't do all that well, and the crap movie like The Boss Baby got all the money instead of this. But Captain Underpants and DreamWorks Trolls are better than The Boss Baby. And Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, is just really good. Coming to number 13, we have Split. Yes, the return to form for M. Night Shyamalan after some of his other movies weren't all that good. The Visit was the start of his comeback, and this is his comeback. I love the sequel to Unbreakable, because Unbreakable is my favorite in M. Night Shyamalan movie, and my favorite in this Unbreakable trilogy. James McAvoy plays all of the personalities very well. And I already like him as an actor from Professor Xavier in the new X-Men movies. And Anya Taylor-Joy, she's hot. I will say that, but she was great in here. And Haley Lou Richardson is also great in here. And I also think she's beautiful. And this movie has gotten controversial for the way they play stress personality disorder, but I don't mind it. But I think there's a lot of good twists, and the twists stick around for the credits because you do get to see Bruce Willis, and this sets up the last film in the Unbreakable trilogy, which is coming in 2019. I can't wait. So yes, it's going to be awesome. Number 12, we have Sleepless with Jamie Foxx, Michelle Monaghan, T.I., and Gabrielle Union. This is such an underrated action thriller. It got so much flack from everyone. While it's not perfect, I thought it was a pretty entertaining action thriller. Jamie Foxx is always good. Say what you will about him in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I actually thought Jamie Foxx was really good in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for what he was given. I didn't like the time to light my candles line, but I thought he did pretty good for what he had to do. And he's great here. And he's trying to get his son back. And it's awesome action. It's R-rated. They don't hold back. And I just think this is a very underrated one. Coming in number 11 is Yep, you better be scared of the freaking boogeyman. John Wick Chapter 2. Talk about a sequel to John Wick that was just outstanding. He does not have any powers. You see him getting beaten and bloodied and bruised. It's R-rated. It does not hold back on the violence or the intensity. The action is great. The film is a short film at 2 hours and 2 minutes. Keanu Reeves is doing his thing. Lawrence Fishburne. It was great to have a little mini Matrix reunion with Neo and Morpheus. So I do hope for the third and final John Wick movie that they bring back Carrie-Anne Moss. Hey, even put Monica Bellucci in the third John Wick movie. If she doesn't come back for Bond 25, which I've been hearing that she might, I think Monica Bellucci will be a good fit for this film, for John Wick Chapter 3. It'll be another Matrix reunion with Carrie-Anne Moss and Monica Bellucci. But anyway, John Wick Chapter 2, just fun times, great times. And I will definitely be getting this one and the first one on Blu-ray for my DVD collection 2018. Coming in number 10 is The Mummy. Yes, Tom Cruise's The Mummy. I know a lot of people hate on this movie. I know this movie gets a lot of flack from everybody, but I don't think it was that bad. I'm one of the few people who actually likes this movie besides Brian Mendoza and JW Universe. But this is not a bad movie. Yeah, it does have flaws. It does have an identity crisis. It does get a little wonky around, and there's an overused CGI, and the movie does feel a little rushed. And the film could have been a little longer. But you do have your positives with here. Tom Cruise, he hasn't made a bad movie. He makes questionable movies. And I think this film is questionable for people. I don't think this is a bad movie. And Jack Reacher Never Go Back wasn't a bad sequel. I liked Jack Reacher Never Go Back. I will re-review it next year with the first one. because you just say. But The Mummy 2017 is an underrated one here. I don't think it deserved the flack it got, and I don't think it's a terrible movie, as everyone says. And if people hate the movie, that's okay. I can't change their minds. Coming in number 9 is another scary movie on this list that I liked but everyone else hated, and that is Rings. Yes, I liked The Ring 2002 and I love The Ring 2. This one, yeah, the idea, it does get slow. Yes, there is some questionable parts, and the characterization is not all that well written, but I thought this was a pretty good, and if not great, third installment. I thought it was fine. Samara Morgan and The Ring going viral, I thought that was a very interesting way to go. And they had to go this route at some point because it's 2017, and I appreciate the fact that they went that route to making The Ring go viral. I thought it was a wise decision. While it doesn't pander out the way you were expecting, I thought that this was good. I like the acting in here. I like the music. I still love Samara Morgan. She is one of my favorite horror movie killers ever, and for good reason. Because she scares the heck out you. Yeah. I can't say anything bad about Samara Morgan. While not perfect, Rings is a pretty entertaining watch. Coming to number 8 is Dunkirk. This is by Chris Nolan. Now, as I said in my review, my only two problems were it could use some character development, but then it would have made the movie a little long, and there's a lack of women in here. It's all men. I feel like there could have been some women in here, but Chris Nolan knew what the heck he was doing. The practical effects are very well. Everything is real. It's not blue screen or green screen. All the acting in here is great. The sound effects, the music. Chris Nolan knew what he was doing, and we were in for a good time with this. Now, this is a controversial film for some people, but I actually think that this is a really entertaining ride, and it's one of my favorite war films, and it's one of my favorite Christopher Nolan movies, and I think this movie deserves more love than does hate. So yeah. Number 7 is Annabelle Creation. You heard me right, Annabelle Creation. This is an improvement over the first Annabelle. This was creepy, it was scary, the acting was great, and you understand why Annabelle is the way she is. And I think this should have been the first Annabelle movie than the Annabelle movie from 2014, because it would have made more sense. And if there's another Annabelle movie coming there in the future, hey, I'd be open to it. It'd be pretty cool. I'm in love with the Conjuring franchise. I can't wait for more. And we get another Conjuring universe film next year, and I'm willing to see what they cook up with the next Conjuring movie after The Nun. Number 6, we have The Fate of the Furious. Now, I do agree this was somewhat unnecessary because they were doing this because Paul Walker is not in. Paul Walker is no longer because Furious 7 made money. But I will say that I did get some enjoyment out of Fate of the Furious. I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought the Fate of the Furious was pretty good. It's not perfect. It's not better than Furious 7. I did have flaws with it. Charlize Theron is not one of them. But I thought she was pretty good in her part. I love the prison fight. It's something straight out of the Avengers. The action is just over the top when they're, especially at the end. I did feel sorry for Elsa Pataky, Chris Hemsworth's real life wife in this movie. I feel bad for her character when she got killed. And I do love the mention of Brian. So that was pretty cool. I don't mind Scott Eastwood. And I do hope Lucas Black does come back for 9 and 10. But honestly, as a Fast and Furious fan, I do agree Fast and Furious should have ended with Furious 7. But Fate of the Furious is not a bad watch. I'll own it for the Fast and Furious collection. Coming in number 5, we're getting down to the top 5 here. War of the Planet of the Apes. This is the third and final story entry in the Caesar saga, and for a final movie with the character of Caesar, this movie should have made a lot more. I think this movie got plain overlooked by some people, and it should have made a lot more money, especially with the last time we see. And give Andy Serkis an Academy Award. Even if you have to create a brand new Academy Award thing, give Andy Serkis his due. He deserves an Oscar. He should have got it for Gollum or for King Kong, or in the Adventures of Tintin, which he plays the captain in that movie, and I will review that. This movie, I appreciate the fact it wasn't just wall-to-wall action. This is a very personal and tragic story, and I like that. But Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is the better movie, and still the best Planet of the Apes movie. So yeah, at the end of the day, War for the Planet of the Apes is just awesome. Coming in number 4 is Alien Covenant. I am not prepared. I'm not prepared for the hate I am about to get on this movie. I am not prepared. I get it. People, you don't like these Alien prequels. I do. And we can agree to disagree, but this movie didn't deserve it. It didn't deserve to fail. Because I would rather take more of these Alien prequels than Alien 5. Because Alien 5 sounds too familiar to Aliens. And that's my favorite Alien movie, is Aliens. And I will be getting the Alien Anthology set, as well as the Predator set, and the AVP double feature, and Prometheus, and Alien Covenant on Blu-ray. Because I'm an Alien and Predator fan. And yes, James Franco is underused. Yes, there's not a whole lot of character development. Yes, there are some boring parts, but it makes up for it with some good acting. The xenomorph's pretty good. I don't like the CGI xenomorphs sometimes, but there's Michael Fassbender, Catherine Waterston. The acting's fine. The music is good. I like seeing the xenomorphs back, and I will agree that the only reason why they brought the xenomorphs back is to please people who hated Prometheus. Well, guess what? You see people who like these Alien prequels, guess what? all you Alien prequel haters out there, you just gonna have to deal with it. How about that? Okay? Just deal with the fact that some people like them. I don't understand people nowadays. Coming in number 3 is Live by Night. Live by Night was a movie directed, produced, and starring Ben Affleck and Zoe Saldana and Elle Fanning and the talented cast. This movie did not do anything at the box office. This movie got hammered. It came out 2016, but it got a limited release for this year, and this movie didn't do nothing. And which is a shame, because there's another movie in this honorable mentions list and a movie on my best of list that didn't do well, and I feel like it should have done some more. Yes, I did have my flaws, but I thought Live by Night was pretty good. I love the direction Ben Affleck does. I like the acting. I love the way the movie shot, photographed, edited, and yes, there are some pacing issues. There are some flaws, but Live by Night, I thought was a pretty welcoming movie, and I thought it was really good. I don't see what the problem is. Number 2 is Patriots Day. My God, I love this movie. I love Patriots Day. It's the true story about the marathon bombing. They didn't screw around with this event. Mark Wahlberg, J.K. Simmons, Michelle Monaghan, amazing performances in here. Peter Berg's direction is great. Kevin Bacon is great. The way this movie is shot and photographed, this is a really good movie. And the interrogation scene with Melissa Benoist, who has a small part in here. Even when she's not in the Supergirl costume, I still think Melissa Benoist is cute. But Patriots Day, this was a really good movie. I thought this was a lot of fun. It was a very gripping and intense drama, and this movie is not a box office disappointment, nor is Blade Runner 2049, which I'll get to in my best movies. But Patriots Day, this was a really entertaining watch, and I thought it was very good. Now, for the number 1 honorable mention here is Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage. I like the Triple X movies. The first one is awesome. I reviewed it on my channel, and that's one of my popular uploads at 5.45k views. I did not think it would get that many views, and my State of the Union review is over 600 and something views. So I can simply say I'm doing my job right on here, on YouTube. But Triple X Returns Xander Cage, I thought this was a really good entry into the series. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was badass. Donnie Yen is great in here. He's awesome. Vin Diesel is great. Nina Dobrev. All the cast in here is awesome. Ice Cube is even awesome in here. I've always liked Ice Cube as an actor and as a rapper. And I thought this movie was just pretty good. It did have some flaws, but I like the acting, and I don't mind Ruby Rose. I know Ruby Rose is gay, that's fine, but I'm gonna say it, I think Ruby Rose is pretty hot. I know there are people who hate this movie, but not this guy, cause it's a dumb, mindless, guilty pleasure fun, and that's what I was expecting with Triple X Returns Xander Cage. And this review is probably one of my highest is going to end up being another one of my popular uploads. In fact, it already is gaining its way up there. But Triple X Return of Xander Cage, pretty awesome film. So those are my honorable mentions of 2017. All 15 of these movies are good to great. They just couldn't make it on this list. Now it's time to get into the top 30 best movies of 2017. Alright, number 30 is Wind River. Wind River, this is a pretty good movie from Taylor Sheridan, and it's pretty good writing and directorial debut. This film is intense, it is violent. There was a few issues I had that I didn't really care for, but it had some great acting, it had a good musical score. Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen stole the show, especially Elizabeth Olsen as a police officer, because I do love Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch in the MCU and Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. And it was great to see them re-team up for something that's not in the MCU. It was fun time, fun, entertaining at best, and it was just a lot of fun. So for that, Wind River is number 30. Number 29 is Despicable Me 3. Before I saw this, I was not a fan of the Despicable Me movies at all. I thought they were just overrated, they're overhyped, and just not very good. But I thought that Despicable Me 3 was a good surprise. Steve Carell's great, Kristen Wiig is great, Miranda Cosgrove is great, the Minions are funny. Always great to hear Kristen Wiig's beautiful feminine voice. And the Minions are very funny. I did say the brother was annoying. I did say that there were some things I didn't really care for. But aside from that, this was way, 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 way better than I was expecting. And I don't know why I doubted this movie at first, because I should know better than that, because Despicable Me 3 is pretty fun. And I love it. Number 28 is I Did Not. Oh, hi, Mark. The Disaster Artist. I love The Disaster Artist. Now, The Room is a bad movie, but it's a movie that's so bad you can't help but watch it. It's actually entertaining because it's so bad. And this movie, you got to see how they make The Room. I thought it was a pretty entertaining movie. I thought it was fascinating. And it was just a lot of good, clean fun. And it was just a lot of fun that I had while watching this movie. I did have some flaws, like I said in my review, but what can I say? But what can you do? It's a good film. James Franco's directorial debut, not bad. Mr. James Franco and Dave Franco, and then you got Alison Brie, who is in real life Dave Franco's wife. That was awesome. This is a fun film. A really fun movie, and definitely worth your time. Number 27 is Disney Pixar's Coco. Coco. This was another surprise. This was another movie I was not anticipating at all. And after watching this, I honestly thought to myself, hey, this is a really good movie. It respects Mexican culture, right? Day of the Dead, right? I learned about it in school. And I just thought that this movie was a pretty entertaining film. And I thought it was just so much fun to watch. The animation is great. Coco is just a welcoming surprise. Nevertheless, it's a very, very entertaining movie. And I love Coco. At number 26 is Lowriders. Lowriders, this was a movie that no one actually talked about. This was more of an underrated film, to be honest. I thought it had a good drama story, good acting from Demi Bichir, Eva Longoria, and also a very unrecognizable Melissa Benoist. Yep. Supergirl is in this movie, and she's great as the girlfriend, the main character. She's great. I did feel like the movie did get a little bit over dramatic in a few parts, but Lowriders deserve more recognition. It was a pretty entertaining movie, and I thought it was fascinating. It really was fascinating. And number 25 is the New Edition story. This is what All Eyes on Me should have been. All Eyes on Me, you should have been this. It's a 3-part miniseries, and it did not play no games. It respected the New Edition and everything it stands for. They got everything right. BET, I love the BET network, and BET was actually my very first words when I was just a little small kid. No joke. But the New Edition story, you got everything right. From Bobby Brown and his situations, the songs, the actors, the performances, everything about the New Edition story was just great. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was awesome. Yeah. Number 24 is Ingrid Goes West, starring Audrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen has been striking gold this year, don't you think? Of course I do. Hey, I love Elizabeth Olsen. Y'all can't judge me. I think Elizabeth Olsen, she's beautiful. You can say what you want, but I think this is a very good movie. I think there's a lot of fun things in here. I think it's a very entertaining movie. I had fun with it. Ingrid Goes West was just so out of the ordinary. And it's a very good comedy drama, and it's just nice. It's nice. It's nice. So, with all that said, Ingrid Goes West, Aubrey Plaza, and Elizabeth Olsen, and Ice Cube Jr., they're all great, and it's a very fun movie. At number 23, we have Cult of Chucky. I know some people just don't like this movie at all. I know people bash this movie. I don't see what the problem is. Yeah, it does have flaws, like I said. The series has had a lot of crazy moments, but I thought they went all out. They took this character in a very bizarre and weird direction. We did need more of Andy. There were some things I wasn't too happy with. I felt like Andy was a little wasted. I feel like there were parts in this movie I was kind of confused with. And I also felt like that there were some things I felt like they could have switched up a bit. But with all that said, Cult of Chucky is another good entry in the series. But Curse of Chucky is the better movie. But the ending, I did not see that coming. And I'm very happy that they decided to go that route, because it was awesome. And stick around, because Christine Elise does make a cameo. Yes, Kyle makes a cameo. So I'm thinking that they're going to bring her back for Chucky 8. And I think Chucky 8 should be the last movie. But, yeah. The Lego Ninjago movie I thought was a pretty entertaining watch. A lot of people say this is the weaker one. I don't think so. I love all three films equally. Now, Lego Batman movie didn't make the list, but I had more fun with this one. Yeah, the good voice acting from everyone. Justin Theroux, Olivia Munn, Jackie Chan. All voice acting was great. Stop motion is great. While it is somewhat of a step down from the other two Lego films, I do like it. I can't wait to see what more Lego films they come with, because I really do want to see more. Number 21. Lion. This was, of course, a 2016 release, but didn't come out until 2017. And I thought this film was just great. It was great. I thought it was fine. I thought it was just excellent. And I had some fun with this. Yeah, I did. I have fun with it. It was fun. It was great. It was magnificent. It was just... It was really good. I thought this was a very good film. And it's a very good drama. It's basically someone trying to find his family, and you got good performances by Dev Patel, Nicole Kidman, David Wenham, Rooney Mara. Great direction, and this movie, it's a very good drama film about trying to find your family and also having to face reality. So that's what I appreciated in this film. So Lion makes number 21 on the list. Now, this is going to be controversial. We're going to have some controversial picks in this. But my number 20 is Star Wars The Last Jedi, or just simply The Last Jedi, as I label it in my video review. Now, again, this movie's not perfect. It does have Empire Strike. It does have flaws. Like I said, there was an underusage of a certain characters. It did have some flaws. Again, like I said. And I don't think this is the worst movie. Some characters are being underused. Some of the movie feels a little dragged out. Some unanswered questions. A lack of vulnerability in the main character. The movie has a lot of stuff to like. You have great performances, beautiful cinematography, the direction and writing of the film, special effects, the musical score, which is magnificent, character arcs, the new characters, great references, the risks that it took, the action sequences, and the emotional weight. And this is Mark Hamill's best performance since the original trilogy. Daisy Ridley is just great in here. And for Carrie Fisher, not a bad way to go out. Again, Carrie Fisher, you'll be missed, but you will not be forgotten. Because what you did for this franchise, I have nothing but respect for you. But The Last Jedi is not a bad movie. I'm sick of the controversy that this movie is getting. It's just like when you people did with Blade Runner 2049. It's just like you did with Star Wars prequels and Force Awakens and Rogue One, complaining that Force Awakens is too much like Star Wars. So, if it's too much like Star Wars, it's bad. But if it's nothing like Star Wars, like the prequels, it's good. I do like the prequels, but they have the crap worst dialogue imaginable. Grow up, people! Anyways, The Last Jedi, awesome movie. And number 19, we have Kingsman, The Golden Circle. This movie got hammered down by people. Yeah, it is too long. Yeah, there are problems. But Kingsman, The Golden Circle, I think it was just as good, if not better, than The Secret Service. The acting is still good. You still have some good action sequences. You still maintain that R rating. It still has some pretty entertaining scenes. And I don't think this is a bad sequel like most people say it is. While it's definitely not perfect, it's not terrible. You got Elton John in here. It was really good. Julianne Moore is still hot. Halle Berry, who's also still hot. You still got the returning cast, and Channing Tatum is awesome in here. So there's more good than bad in here. And number 18 is Jeepers Creepers 3. I know this movie did not get to see if it's a theatrical release because of the boycott of the director. What the director did, yeah, that was wrong, but that was years ago, people. And you people have to let that go. You can't, like I said in my review, you cannot boycott a movie all because of a director and something he did in the past. That's just not smart. That's just not good. That's just wrong. Yeah, I think that's embarrassing. That's stupid. But yeah, it does. This movie does have its flaws. The Creeper is still pretty awesome. I like seeing Gina Phillips in here for her small scenes. I like the tie-in to Jeepers Creepers 2, and the Creeper has never looked this scarier as you've seen him. Now, if you are a fan of Jeepers Creepers, you may like this movie or hate this movie. But if you hate the director, you, just like the other two, you might hate this one. But this movie, I like it. Don't judge me. I like the Jeepers Creepers franchise. I think it's a very creepy franchise. Coming to number 17 is Gerald's Game. And Gerald's Game, I literally don't have much to say about it except that this was a pretty entertaining movie. I thought it was nice. I thought it was excellent. Another good Netflix movie. And another great Stephen King movie. Because this movie and it are great. The Dark Tower was okay. And I haven't seen 1922 yet. But Gerald's Game, Carl Giorgio, and Bruce Greenwood, and the performances, And the way this movie plays out is very, very, very cool. I do enjoy the aspects of this movie that they were going for. And while it does have its flaws, I will say this is a pretty awesome movie. And another awesome Stephen King adaptation. At best. At number 16, Spielberg. Yes, Spielberg. It was an HBO documentary. I have not reviewed this movie yet, but I am going to do exactly that. But this movie I thought was awesome. It was an amazing documentary on one of my favorite movie directors of all time. They talk about E.T., The Color Purple, Indiana Jones, Jaws. My only sort of nitpick is that I wish they could have talked more about his movies from the 2000s, like Minority Report and Munich and War of the Worlds and Lincoln and stuff. But I still think this is a very compelling documentary. You got a lot of good interviews, a lot of great people. Daniel Day-Lewis, Harrison Ford, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg himself, John Williams. Just awesome documentary. And if this ever gets a Blu-ray release, I would love to have this on Blu-ray, because this is an amazing documentary. And 2018, I do have something planned for Steven Spielberg on my channel. I might do a Steven Spielberg review series because I reviewed his other movies, but I will be re-reviewing Minority Report. But anyways, I enjoy. Spielberg is an awesome movie. Coming in number 15 is Justice League. Yes, I do agree. There are some things that could have been better. Yes, this movie should not have been messed with, but 2-hour runtime was fine with me. I'm glad Joss Whedon came in and fixed and helped with this movie. This is not the disaster everyone says is. This is not a bomb. This is a success in my eyes. In my eyes, this is a success. It does have its flaws. And I think BVS fanboys and other people just like to bash this movie because it's not Zack Snyder's complete vision. I don't mind the music by Danny Elfman. I do love his score, by the way. It is awesome. It's an awesome score. And fine. If you don't like the music in here, fine. I'm not going to change your mind, but at least give this movie some credit. The acting is good. The action was great. It's not a perfect movie, but Justice League, it could have been better. Before a movie, it could have been a heck of a lot worse. At number 14 is Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson. I know people just don't like the film. I know that, okay? I know people give this movie a lot of flack, whitewashing this movie in the most unnecessarily ways imaginable, but I don't think this is a terrible movie. It's not perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it is much better than what people give it. Scarlett Johansson's pretty good. I do like the visual effects. Yeah, the movie does get a little slow and does have some story issues and such. But honestly, I think this is an underappreciated movie. And I agree with OCP Communications that this is a misunderstood movie. It's a fun time. Not perfect, but I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying it's an underrated gem. And that's why this movie's on this list. coming in number 13 is Baywatch. Yeah, you heard me. Baywatch. Baywatch was fun. I liked Baywatch. Now, there were some jokes I could have done without. There were some things that was not needed. But overall, the results, it was a pretty entertaining movie. I don't see what the problem was with this film. I think it was just as fun. I thought it was a good time. I thought there were some pretty entertaining moments. The girls are hot. Alexander Daddario, Kelly Rohrbach, Priyanka Chopra, The Rock, and Zac Efron are pretty cool. And all the performances in this movie, and when the comedy works, it works. Again, there are some things I could have done without, and the movie did get a little slow. But it's an R-rated comedy. What can you expect from the jokes and stuff? But Baywatch, this was awesome. At number 12 is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales. Now, I like the entire Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Curse of the Black Pearl was awesome. Dead Man's Chest is my favorite. At World's End is the worst one. On Stranger Tides was an improvement. And this was even an improvement on At World's End. While it's definitely not perfect movie, I did have my flaws. I was fine with Keira Knightley's little cameo, because it's only a cameo. She's not in this movie a whole lot. So that was good, because if she was in this movie a whole lot, I would not be able to get through it. I don't hate Keira Knightley, but after Pirates of the Caribbean At World's End, let her story just be done. Be done. Because you have... But the new characters are good. I love what they did with Jeffrey Rush. I like a lot of things that they decided to go along with. And this was a pretty entertaining movie. Johnny Depp still got it. He's still awesome. And it's still some pretty interesting things that this movie has going for it. So, honestly, Dead Man Tell No Tales is pretty good. And Javier Bardem is the villain. He's really cool. He's really awesome. And I like him. It's fantastic. At number 11 is Baby Driver. This is only the second of two Edgar Wright movies I've seen. The other one is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Will I watch his other movies? I'm thinking about it. I really am. But this, I thought was pretty good. You got Jamie Foxx in here, Ansel Elgort, Lily James, Kevin Spacey, John Hamm. The acting here is great. The soundtrack is great. It's a really entertaining comedy action drama film. You got romance, and this movie's really good. And they're talking about doing a sequel to it. Oh yes, sign me up. I would love to see another Baby Driver. But out of the two Edgar Wright movies, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is my favorite. I haven't reviewed Scott Pilgrim vs. the World yet, but I will be getting to it at some point. So, yeah, that's my number 11. Now we are on to the top 10 favorites of the year. At number 10 is Saban's Power Rangers. I know there are people who hate this movie. I know there are people who don't like this movie, but I actually enjoy watching this movie. I think it's a pretty entertaining film. I don't think it's a bad movie per se. I've seen far worse. It's definitely not perfect. Elizabeth Banks is kind of crazy, kind of over the top, is Riri Repulsa, but then again, the original Riri Repulsa was over the top. The film does take a while to get going, and there is a little bit too much Krispy Kreme product placement, but the acting is fine. I like the effects. I like the costumes. I don't mind Trini being gay. I don't mind Billy being autistic. The only way it can really bother me is that if you beat me over the head with it. But as long as you keep it just one scene or something, okay, we got a deal. Saban's Power Rangers, it delivers on the action. I like the cast: Becky G, Naomi Scott, Dacre Montgomery. The performances, everyone in here is just really good. And it's a shame this movie didn't do well, but Home Media Sales should be much better, and I still want a sequel to this. Anybody who says this was a bad movie, I'm sorry, but it wasn't. I enjoyed it. And I enjoy Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as well. So, that's my number 10. At number 9, we have Mother. Yes, I know this movie got a crap load of controversy. This is basically Darren Aronofsky's somewhat version of the Old Testament. I don't know. But this was a really good psychological thriller. It definitely has a lot of harsh images. It definitely has a lot of intense moments throughout. But it's R-rated. And for all the disturbing imagery that they show, especially towards the end, which I won't spoil, this R rating is well deserved. This movie has gotten so much controversy. This is when you realize you're not going to satisfy everyone, because they don't know how to take it. They don't know how to respond to it. But I think Mother is a good movie. Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, Michelle Pfeiffer, Kristen Wiig, all the performances in this movie are great. The direction is weird, bizarre, messed up, but that's Darren Aronofsky style. This is one of my new favorite films from Darren Aronofsky. Besides The Wrestler and Black Swan and Noah. I haven't seen Requiem for a Dream or Pi because I don't know if I could sit through Requiem for a Dream, because that movie has a lot of sensitive stuff in it, intense, harsh images in it too, but I'll give it a shot. I might. But Mother was a good movie. It's not bad. Jennifer Lawrence is always great in it, and she's still gorgeous to look at. And I can't wait to see what she does in this movie, Red Sparrow, which a picture is about to pop up of how she looks in Red Sparrow right now. Yep, even still hot. Coming to number 8 is Pitch Perfect 3, The Farewell Tour. This was an improvement over Pitch Perfect 2, which I didn't hate. Like I said, I didn't really care for the subplot with the documentary subplot. I feel like the troublemakers were missing, and I also felt like there were some jokes that didn't quite work well for me. But everything else was still pretty good. I still thought Pitch Perfect 3 was a cool end to the acapella trilogy. I've enjoyed all three of these movies. Anna Kendrick's still awesome. Haley Steinfeld's still awesome. And they're both sexy. Rebel Wilson is still funny. But in some parts of this movie, this did turn into the Fat Amy show. But it's more tolerable than any scene in Snatched. Rebel Wilson's more funnier than Amy Schumer. I'm sorry, that's how I felt. But Pitch Perfect 3, the music was still good and not too bad. Trissy, not bad at all. Screw the haters. At number 7 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is one of the controversial ones in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right next to the Civil War, right next to Doctor Strange, right next to Age of Ultron, and to the Thor movies and Thor Ragnarok. You have your people who loves the movie, like me. You have the people who think it's okay, and you have people who just hate this movie. I love almost every minute of Guardians of the Galaxy. I did have issues with it. I kind of felt like there were some jokes that didn't work. I kind of felt like Rocket Raccoon kind of got annoying in some parts. But Baby Groot was great. The Guardians had a lot more even more to do. Karen Gillan as Nebula. And Karen Gillan in general. That is a beautiful redhead, okay? Beautiful redhead. And the action was cool. I love the soundtrack. I basically love everything about the movie. It just had a couple of issues that they could have fixed. But overall, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was entertaining. At number 6 is King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Now, if you want to know why I like this movie, you might as well go check out my review. Like I said, the movie is kind of predictable. The ending is kind of predictable. There is some shaky cam issues that they could have fixed up. But this did not deserve to fail. This was a good surprise. I actually liked the movie. And I thought this was better than I actually thought it was better than Chris made it out to be. This was a really entertaining movie with a lot of good, like I said, had problems. And I kind of felt like Astrid Frisbee kind of got underused in here. But I love her in On Stranger Tides. I don't care how many people hate that movie. On Stranger Tides was better than At World's End. And I will continue to say that. Because I'm going to have all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies on Blu-ray in my collection. The King Arthur Legend of the Sword is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty fantastic. And it does have flaws, but it's still watchable. And number 5 is Stephen King's 2017 It. This was much better than the miniseries. I do like the miniseries, but I don't like that ending, though, in the miniseries. I don't like that ending. This, you get to spend more time with the kids For 2 hours and 15 minutes, it delivered the acting, it delivered the scares. Pennywise is more creepier here than in the 1990 miniseries. And this movie does not hold back, especially on the beginning of the movie with Georgie. This is one of the better horror movies, and it's now one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. At number 4 is the return to form for Spider-Man, Spider-Man Homecoming. Thank you, Marvel. Thank you, Sony. Thank you, John Watts. Thank you for everyone who worked on this movie. This brought the Spider-Man character back from a fate worse than death with the Amazing Spider-Man 1. Amazing Spider-Man 2 I may like, but it did have flaws. But I am a completist and I do have to get it on Blu-ray. Unfortunately. But Homecoming I already have on DVD. It's in my DVD stack. I'm not going to get it right now. But I thought this was a really good movie. I thought I had a lot of fun with it. I thought this was pretty awesome. I thought it was a lot of great things in it. And the twist, didn't see it coming. Aunt May's reaction to Spider-Man at the end, didn't see it coming. Hot Aunt May, Marissa May is great. Tom Holland is great. Everything about this movie is great. I can't wait for Spider-Man Homecoming 2. Don't kill him off in Infinity War. Coming at number 3 is Blade Runner 2049. Yes, you heard me correctly. This is a superb, visually, and successful sequel to the 1982 original classic. Denis Villeneuve directed an excellent, well-written, beautifully shot, and framed 2 hours and 43-minute long film of awesomeness and a great movie that makes you think. I know this movie didn't do so well in the US, but overseas it did much better. But I guess people in the US did not care about this. They were expecting an action movie. Guess what? It does have action in it, but it's not an action movie. This is a psychological sci-fi thriller that's supposed to make you think. And if you can't deal with the fact that this movie's 2 hours and 43 minutes, don't watch it. You people can sit there and defend Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End for being 2 hours and 43 minutes. But yet, you want to give this movie the hate, all because it's so long. There's a lot of good things in it. There's a lot of heart, emotion, thinking, and interesting ideas and elements throughout the entire movie that's brought into a sequel. Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Ana de Armas, Gerald Leto, all the acting is great in this movie. And all the women in here are great. And I like the holograms, because hologram with Joy talking to Ryan Gosling. And if this movie doesn't get best cinematography or any kind of awards at the Oscars, and you give awards to War of the Apes, Academy, it's over. Academy Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. This movie should have made more. It should have made more. But I will be getting this one and the first one on Blu-ray. But I need you guys' opinion on something. Which edition of Blade Runner should I get? Should I get the final cut on Blu-ray with just the final cut? or should I get the 30th anniversary digibook with all the versions? You guys tell me in the comments. Your move. At number 2, don't laugh at me for this, guys, but Descendants 2. Yes, I know this franchise has a fan base. There are people who like this movie. There are people who hate this movie. I'm on the side where I love the film, just not as much as I did the first one. The first one is still the better movie, but I do like what they were doing with the characters this time around. I like Uma. I like I like that they put some action in there. I do love the part when Dove Cameron turns into a dragon, cause that's showing that she is also have the power to turn into a dragon. You also got other actors in here, Sophia Carson, Cameron Boyce, Boo Boo Stewart, Brenna D'Amico, China McClain, Thomas Doherty. All the acting in here is fine. The music is fine. I know people don't like. I'm sorry you didn't like either Descendants movie, Film Master Adam J, but I do. And Descendants 2, I have it on DVD. It's in my mom's room because she bought it for the entire family. At number 1 is I've been saying this all year ever since its release. Wonder Woman. Yes, you heard me correctly. This was my most anticipated film of the year, and it was my best movie of 2017. And my favorite comic book movie of 2017. And my favorite film of summer 2017. This movie was awesome. Screw the haters. This movie is not SJW feminism bullcrap. This is a really good origin film with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, who's still awesome in the costume. You have a lot of good performances in here. I buy the chemistry with Steve Trevor, and she's an inspiration for young girls, right next to Supergirl. And this movie deserved to be the highest grossing superhero film of all time, and deserved to be on Rotten Tomatoes top 50 superhero movies of all time list at number 1. Over The Dark Knight. Yeah, it deserved it. This movie was 2 hours, 21 minutes of nothing but just pure awesomeness. And I like this movie a lot that I even have the soundtrack on my laptop. So, I can't wait for the sequel. Patty Jenkins, you got my support. Gal Gadot, you always have my support. You were awesome in Justice League, and you were awesome in Fast and Furious 4, 5, and 6. So, that was my best movies of 2017. It's taken me 3 days to get this filmed and made. So I hope you do guys appreciate the support. Let me know what you guys think of this video down below. What are your best movies of the year? Do you like my picks? And I will see you guys in 2018. And 2017 catch up is still going on. And I will see you guys in 2018. If you like this, you can come here and we can have a good time.